Everything about the life of Christopher Reeve has changed, except the important things. His passion for sports, especially sailing, is stronger than ever, though he is now a spectator rather than skipper.
I am proud to introduce a true American hero.
It is the public that sees a Christopher Reeve it has never quite seen before. He leaves people awestruck. He is charming and still has movie star looks. You'd have no idea, though, what he's gone through the last 3 years.
1, 2, and 3.
It has been a fight. In just the last year and a half, he's been hospitalized 11 times for blood clots, a collapsed lung, pneumonia, high blood pressure, bed sores, and nearly needed his leg amputated because of an infection. Chris, describe for us your daily routine.
Well, I start the day at 8 o'clock, and then the next 3 hours are getting dressed.
3 hours it takes to get you out of bed?
Because we do at least 2 forms of exercise, and I have to start going to bed at 9:30 because that takes a couple of hours to sort of put me away.
To get you undressed, to take care of body functions, bowel movements, or whatever.
Exactly. Being rolled over my side while 2 or 3 people take a good look at my butt. I don't want to charge admission, you know. But it has to be done.
I would think that one of the hardest things to do is to adjust to the lack of privacy. You're almost never alone, are you?
Can't be alone. I'm never alone. There's always somebody listening, you know, to make sure that something doesn't happen in the event.
Chris's wife, Dana, told me how difficult it is having people in her house 24 hours a day, and she cherishes any time alone with her husband. You and Chris sleep next to each other, separate beds, but next to each other. Are you alone then, or is there a nurse even then?
Well, we're alone. We're alone in the room. A nurse is on the monitor.
That's almost the only time you and Chris are totally alone.
Well,
isn't
there's
it,
a volume control on the monitor, so there are times we can turn down the volume. Oh, yes, I'll turn down the volume. I mean, I turn off the monitor a lot because even for conversations, it really should just be for our ears only.
Can I take a look at C1, C2? I can't see it.
Chris and Dana have hope for a better future because of exciting new research to cure spinal cord injuries. Scientists are on the brink of reconnecting the brain to paralyzed limbs, something that used to be unthinkable. And this is not a pipe dream of yours. You really think this is going to happen? I mean, you know, you and I have fun faith in each other.
Yeah, I don't waste time on pipe dreams. No, I wouldn't bother. You know, it's I'm a very practical person.
If Chris got off the respirator and got use of one arm, full rotation of one arm, he could go outside, load himself into a van, and drive away. Bye-bye, all by himself. And that alone would be a huge 180 degrees from what we have now.
Insurance companies in this country this past year made $780 billion. You know how much money they put into research? 0. Absolutely nothing. And yet, if they would fund research, you'd have healthier people. They'd spend less on benefits.
This video of Chris fully upright has never been seen before. This may look like a simple treadmill and harness, but it is actually the basis of a radical new idea, that the spinal cord has memory, even though it is no longer receiving messages from the brain. It could automatically prompt the legs to move in the familiar patterns of walking, so paralyzed people could instinctively be taught to walk again.
And the spinal cord told, my flexor muscles to lift the leg. And all they had to do was place my feet so I wouldn't, bend over my foot and break a toe or something. And I walked.
How did it feel to see yourself standing and walking for the first time in 3 years?
It was unbelievable. I rarely get very emotional about my condition, but that one put me away because it's the key to the future.
When you dream, you are whole,
Always.
and then you wake up.
Oh, gosh. The hands don't move, the knees don't move. I've been in a position for a long time. It's, I feel, pain in certain places. Now, one thing's interesting. 3 years after the accident, I have never once had a dream where I'm in a wheelchair. Ever.
So I'd like to introduce to you...
It is his message of hope that may explain why Christopher Reeve is one of the country's most sought-after motivational speakers, earning fees equal to those of former U.S. presidents. But getting to those engagements is cumbersome and carefully coordinated. He is driven in a custom-fitted van with an extra-high roof and a hydraulic lift to get his wheelchair on and off. Christopher travels with nurses and aides wherever he goes. Once the group arrives at the airport and all of his medical supplies are loaded on board, Chris's nurses stretch his muscles to prevent spasms during the flight.
1, 2.
So I go up the stairs and then put into a seat and strapped in and
Off you go.
off we go. We just travel everywhere we can.
Chris's first major trip was in March 1996 to Los Angeles, where he made a special appearance at the Academy Awards.
Thank you very much.
What did it feel like? What was it like?
I haven't been really anywhere in South. So why not start with 1 billion people live? I just kind of like the ridiculousness of it. But I wanted to communicate a message. One, that I was, still around. And the other, about what I felt that, Hollywood should be doing.
Now, when you look at films like Platoon and Philadelphia, Lorenzo's Oil, you realize the power of film to present painful but important issues to the public.
And these sentiments are reflected in the projects he has taken on since he's gone back to work.
And cut.
He was in front of the cameras once again in a television movie about a paralyzed little boy. And he recently directed the award-winning HBO movie In the Gloaming, the story of a son who returned to his family to die of AIDS. Directing a film presented special challenges to a man who cannot breathe on his own. Chris directed not on the set, but from an adjoining room, so that the sound of his ventilator pumping air into his lungs would not interfere with the film's audio track. He was able to watch the action through a video camera attached to the cameraman's viewfinder. Do you like directing?
I love it. I really, really love it.
You write that you have to stop remembering all the good things that you were once able to do. You gotta have big times of depression, don't you? What do you do?
There are moments when I get fed up, but I just push through it because everything passes. I can go through, a collapsed lung, and I know I'm going to come out the other side of it. I've survived everything they've thrown at me so far. So,
Hey, you're Superman. Do you ever get adjusted to this?
We do adjust because what are the alternatives? It would be miserable not to. But do we long for our other life? Yes, every day. It's a drastic change.
What's the toughest part?
It's hard to see other people do what we used to do, even hold hands. Even, I look at other couples laughing or someone, a husband sort of flipping his wife's hair, and I think like, oh, I miss that stuff. I miss the little things like that.
Let's talk about marriage. Mm-hmm. Describe the marriage in the 3 years. When we talked the first time, it was obvious that you two were just so close and loving, but a lot happens in 3 years.
Right. Dana and I, we've been together 11 years now, and we're just, solid as a rock going in, and that just continues. Mm-hmm. Dana gave up all of 1995 to take care of me, and a lot of 96, so that once I came home, got busy, directing a movie and writing a book, and then I felt my job was to give her time back.
And his is the only music that makes me dance.
How do you find time for you?
Well, I'm lucky in that Chris gives me time, because if you give and give and give and only live through other people, you're no good to anyone. The main thing I will not give up is having a relationship that is still a solid, like, we have fights, we have...
You argue?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think there's no way. We're equals. There's no way we're not going to.
What if Dana says, I've had a really lousy day? Do you feel you've had a lousy day? Wives want to complain sometimes.
We talk about what was lousy about it. So I listen. That's my job at that time. Make sure that I'm not a further burden at the end of the day. And we just, support each other.
The most difficult question. People always talk about how important is the sexual side of a marriage compared to the love you have, the mental part of it.
Yeah.
Obviously, your love has grown, even without that.
Oh, yeah. Oh, definitely. And, you just have to be creative in terms of sex. There are ways.
I haven't a clue.
There are ways. It's definitely different. There's no question. And we talk about that all the time,
Do you
too.
really?
Oh, my God, yes.
Because I was afraid you would bring it up. Yeah.
I know, but we're not. And so it's definitely not the same. And we miss it the way it was. There's no question. It doesn't seem fair at all. But there are, we have our ways. I'm not going to get into.
When we talked last with you and Dana, you were hoping to have another child.
Mm-hmm.
Physically, it is possible.
Right.
But you write that you've decided not to.
Well, it's been 3 years since I've been able to put my arms around Will. And there's times when he needs a hug from me. But the best he can do is come over and lean on my shoulder. I feel that I wasn't able to give enough. You could manage, it'd be okay. But I want better than okay. I want it, to really, really be wonderful for our child, and I can't at the moment give as much as I would want to.
Chris, one of the things that happened to you is that in the early days in the hospital, your mother came, and she wanted the doctors to pull the plug.
Well, my mother was only trying to exceed my wishes, because for years I'd always talked about if I couldn't sail and swim and ride, and that life wouldn't be worth living, so she was trying to help.
You weren't angry?
Oh, no. I understand that she was trying to help.
Chris, is there never a time now when you wish you'd pulled the plug?
No, not for a second.
Do you feel that there was a purpose in what happened here?
No.
You don't think it was God's will?
No.
What's the biggest lesson or lessons you've learned?
Oh, wow. We can do it. No matter what, we can do it. And we can be happy while we're doing it.
And I believe we all have more potential inside of us than we have any knowledge of. And when a crisis like this happens, you can find out what you're made of. And we're made of more than we realize.